Hello and welcome back to day 13 of Vlogtober. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. If you are new to my channel, you might be most familiar with my dog Sirius, but my name is Sassafras, and this channel is not only about my dog Sirius, all the fun training things we do together, my training advice as a dog trainer, but it's also about me being an author. So I am a full-time author and freelance writer. I have 9 books in print, and my 10th book releases on December 1st from Mango Publishing. It's called Chew This Journal, and it is an activity book for you and your dog. I am, again, a dog writer. I write for all kinds of publications like the New York Times, Wired, Apartment Therapy, giving dog training advice and suggestions. I also write for dog magazines like Dogster, the American Kennel Club, Modern Dog, all kinds of places. So dogs are a huge part of my life. Writing about dogs is a huge part of my life. And so this channel is also sort of spanning that dog training content and AuthorTube content. So today I wanted to talk to you about my new indie project, which is Pandemic Pets. I showed you the proofs of it, but the final copy finally arrived. My copy came much later than most people were getting them who'd ordered copies. I am so excited that it is here. So I am a hybrid author. This is kind of some of that AuthorTube content. So which means I am both traditionally published and self-published. So about half of my books have come out or are coming out from traditional publishers, and the other half of my books have been indie releases that I have released on my own. If you are interested in more content about why I like being a hybrid author, why I like both being traditionally published and self-published, please let me know in the comments. I would be really happy to make that kind of content and can answer those questions. I also have an article in this week's issue of Publishers Weekly magazine talking about self-publishing, why it's not a last resort option. I always like to highlight that piece. For me, the books of mine that are self-published are not, it's not because I couldn't sell them to traditional presses, it's because I felt that they would be better served by being released by me. Similarly, the books that I sell to traditional presses, I believe are best served by those publishers. But today I want to talk about this really fun indie project. So this was not a project I thought I was going to do this year. This is a very different kind of thing for me. And the idea for it really was because of the pandemic. So it's called Pandemic Pets, both because this is 2020, and also because pets have been kind of the heroes of the pandemic in a lot of ways. Like, yes, obviously essential workers, but we've all been spending a whole lot more time at home with our pets, and I wanted to find a fun way to commemorate that. So also this year, my book that I was talking about, Chew This Journal, was supposed to release in mid-July. That was the date the publisher had set, like a year and change ago. And then because everything got mixed up when the pandemic began, publishing really took a hit, you know, printing presses were slowing down, everything got very complicated. And so they moved the release back from July to December, which is why the book is now releasing December 1st. It makes a fabulous holiday gift. It's available for pre-order. All those links are below. And I suddenly found myself with a little more time on my hands. Granted, I'm also like writing and in the process of writing or editing 3 other books. I write all the time for magazines. It's not like I didn't have things to do, but I was like, I need a project. And one of the ways that I had started occupying myself and managing my own, I feel like I was like paged through this while we're chatting, manage my own anxiety during the pandemic was that I was drawing a lot, digitally drawing. I'd gotten a new iPad. My old iPad was really struggling, and I had gotten really excited about doing digital drawing. And so I was drawing my own pets a lot. And then I was like, what if I drew other people's pets? And I have a Patreon, and my patrons had made a comment. Somebody had made a comment in one of them, like, it would be such a fun coloring book. And I was like, oh, I could do a coloring book. And I love coloring. Coloring is a fantastic stress reliever for people of all ages. It's such a fun activity. And I was like, that's a thing I could do. And so it happened, the idea for that was sort of percolating in my head, and then when my publisher let me know that my book was being pushed back, I suddenly had this pocket of time, and I was like, what if? And this is one of those things that I absolutely love about being a hybrid author and having a lot of control over the kind of work that I do, not being locked down to only doing projects that, you know, a certain publisher might want me to do. And I was like, I'm gonna do a coloring book. And I didn't want it to just be my pets. My pets are fantastic, but I wanted to open it up. So I feel like it would be helpful to maybe, I've gotten a lot of questions like, how did I do this? What did I do? So I'm gonna kind of talk quickly through this process in case you're looking to do a book like this. This was not, you know, my first experience in self-publishing at all, but it was my first time doing a book like this. I'd never done a coloring book. I definitely wasn't sure like how to manage all of these layout pieces, what the like options for printing looked like, all that. So I'm going to talk about that here. So I put out a call for submission saying, send me pictures of your pets and I will, you know, if I choose to include them in the coloring book, you will get a PDF copy of the coloring book that was sort of like in all the introductory materials. Also, anyone who was a patron of mine at part of my Patreon, automatically, if they wanted their pets to be in the coloring book, they would be included. So that was kind of the call for submissions I sent out, not really knowing what people would think. I am best known as an author. I write fiction and nonfiction in a couple of different communities. I do a lot of dog writing. I do a lot of LGBTQ writing. And so I didn't really know what people would think. People had been positively responding to what I would call like my silly little doodles when I would post drawings of my pets. But I'm not necessarily like known as a visual artist by any stretch of the imagination. But I was like, it's a fun project. What is there to lose? And then I was so grateful that because I have edited multiple anthologies, I knew that what would be very overwhelming for me would be lots of emails coming into my general inbox that I use like for my personal life and my business, like communicating with magazines and things like that. I was like, I needed to go somewhere separate in case it becomes a thing. And I sort of didn't really think it would. I had no idea. And then I put the call out and the first day my inbox started flooding with people's pictures of their pets. And I was like, oh my God, people are excited about this project. And that got me excited. And it was fun. It's fun to be excited about a project. And it's especially fun to be excited about a project in 2020, which, you're like, let's be real, this year has not been cute, right? So I, at this point, had a photo release that I had put together, just like walking you through the process, right? Like, so I had a photo release and I sent that back to anybody who had sent me a picture. And I was like, you need to send me the photo release back. And there was a deadline by when I needed it, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I had the photo release back, everything went into a spreadsheet. And then I started drawing. Ooh, I didn't think about how this wasn't going to show well. Will it focus? It's not going to focus. So I used Procreate. People had a lot of questions about like how I did. So I draw on my iPad, I draw on Procreate. And once I had photo releases, that's when I started drawing. And I started drawing right away instead of waiting for the deadline to pass, because I knew that I wanted to turn this project around quickly. I wanted to harness the excitement that I felt for it. I knew that it would be a project that I wanted to have out before the holiday season if I could at all possibly do that. And I wanted people to have it in their hands and to get to play with it, because this year sucks. And I wanted people to get the chance to use it. So I started drawing right away. And more pictures came in of all kinds of pets. And it just kept growing. And in the end, there are a total of 102 pages of critters in this book to color. And I am so excited. It did not occur to me it was going to be this big. When I first started the idea, I was like, oh, maybe it'll be like 30 pages. Like, that's cute. Like, it's a coloring book. No, it's like over 100 pages. And I am so pleased with it. It was so much fun. And it was one of those ways that the project was exactly what I hoped it would be. Every step of the way. People were like overwhelmingly excited about it, which was really exciting for me. Obviously, any creator wants people to be excited about what they're working on. And people were, and I loved that. And I mean, who doesn't love their pets, right? And, you know, am I the world's most talented visual artist? Absolutely not. But I have a lot of fun with what I do, and people have said they've had a lot of fun coloring these pictures. If you have got the coloring book, please tag me in pictures that you color on Twitter or Instagram. I would love to see them. And I love to share them if that's okay with you also, like in my Insta stories and places. And I just love seeing what people created with these coloring book pages. So the book has been, I'd written Procreate. I was going to walk you through the process, right? So the call for submissions went out. People sent me tons and tons of pictures. People signed photo releases, sent those back to me. I started drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. And I had spreadsheets, and then I started putting it together. So all this time, before I started the project, I had done the preliminary research, which meant I knew that I could produce a high quality coloring book. That was important to me. Sirius and I are on the back. It was important to me that I was able to produce a coloring book that was high quality, and I also needed to be able to produce a coloring book that I was able to easily distribute. Because of the pandemic, and because I'm taking it very, very seriously and I'm quite nervous about it, I used to sell signed copies of my books on my website. It's just an additional way people could buy books if they wanted a signed copy. And I took all of that down in end of February, early March, because I'm not going to the post office in the same way. I am still checking my P.O. box. I do still have a P.O. box. That information is below. If you ever want to send Sirius anything, you absolutely don't have to. But I have my P.O. box I use for business, and I do check it every week or so, but I'm not spending time in the post office. I'm not standing in line. I'm not mailing packages. So I knew that I needed to go with a printing process that would be easy for me to release. And for me, the best way to do that was through Amazon's KDP. So there are a variety of means to self-publishing books. I have used different ones in the past, but I'm a big fan of KDP, I must say. And there are lots of reasons to be thoughtful or critical or questioning about Amazon and their policies or their politics. And certainly there has been an impact from Amazon on small bookstores. I got my start as an indie author in small bookstores for sure. That said, I have to also own that I make the most money selling books from Amazon as an author. And I love and support indie bookstores when I go on book tour. Remember when we could do things like that? Remember when travel was a thing? And I used to tour a lot with my LGBTQ books specifically. And all my stops on my book tour were at indie bookstores. So my heart is with indie bookstores, but on a practical business level, I do make most of my money from Amazon. And so that is also part of why I can't deny that Amazon's KDP program is kind of the easiest, at least for me, way to produce the books that I self-publish. I get the highest quality books. I get the easiest process for me. And so I did format this book myself. That was also a requirement that I had set for myself with doing this project. I hadn't known how popular it would be or wouldn't be. I didn't know if anybody at all would buy it. I thought maybe the people whose pets were in it might buy it, but I didn't know. And so I definitely didn't want to be in a position of having to pay a layout designer for this particular project. I needed to be able to do this interior layout myself. And I was able to do that, and that was really exciting and really empowering. And I've learned a lot over the last decade about layout, from both hiring layout designers for different books of mine, from my traditional publishers and their production teams sharing tips and processes with me, from designing my own books when I don't hire a designer. So I've learned about it, and I don't know everything, but I knew enough that I knew I could pull this book together well, and I was so pleased. And I love the paper quality. That's something with a coloring book that really matters. And this paper is really nice and crisp and white and takes color really, really well. So I did the layout for the book, and then I released it. It's been released for 3 weeks now, and I have been so overwhelmed in a good way with how positive the response has been from this fun, weird, quirky little project. And I didn't know what to expect. Again, it's so different than any of the work that I do, but people like it, and I'm thrilled with that. So it has, 101 really fun pages. That was kind of the basics of the process. It was just fun to put together. It was such a fun summer project. Like, obviously I'm sad that my book from, my activity book got pushed back to a December release, but in other ways, like, sometimes things happen for a reason and I can't be mad about it. If the book had released in July, there's no way I would have taken on this fun indie project. And I'm so glad that I did, because I got to do something that was fun for me, that was stress relieving for me, and that was able to like help me put something fun and joyful into a world that needs a whole lot more fun and joy. So the coloring book is available on Amazon. It is $8.99. It's under Prime, so it comes for everybody else super, super quickly. Mine was only delayed because I have to order author copies a different way. And it has just fun coloring opportunities for people of all ages. Like, I had so much fun putting it together. People are loving it, and that's why I create things, right? Like, that's why I put things into the world, is because I want people to enjoy them. And I thought it would be fun to, from an AuthorTube perspective, demystify this process a little bit. It was very, very quick. I had the idea for the project in mid-May, and I put the call out for art in early July. That was around the point that I knew I had, I came up with the idea. Just giving you a quick timeline. Mid-May was when I had the idea. I did some preliminary research, figuring out printing options. Would it be possible for me to do a book like this? Would KDP allow a book like this to be printed? I didn't know sort of how coloring books are a weird thing, right? Did the research on that, did some other pieces of research, did some mapping of what my plans were creatively, publishing-wise, for the rest of the year. Could I make this fit in? It was a little ridiculous, but I could. Released the call for pet pictures in early June. Closed, the deadline for submitting pet pictures was the beginning of, or mid-July, early mid-July. I was drawing actively the whole time once I started getting pictures in and photo releases in. And I had set for myself that by the end of August, I needed to have all the drawings done. And I did. I actually hit like a week ahead of my deadline for having every drawing done for the book. At that point, I ordered proofs. I did some layout. I was laying out at the end of August. I guess it was mid-August I was laying out. The end of August was when I needed everything to be done. So all the drawings were done. The layout was done at that point. I did a test print early in August, way before all the drawings were done, just to make sure things were okay. I was feeling really anxious because I've never done a book like this, and I didn't know what printing would look like. So I did an early test print in August. By the end of August, I had finished the entire coloring book, finished the layout. I ordered my first round of proofs because of the pandemic, because of the wildfires here on the West Coast. Mail has been very slow. It took a little longer than I thought to get those proofs. There were some minimal fixes I needed to do with the layout, with the cover design for the coloring book from those. I made those fixes, ordered new proofs. Everything was solid, and we released. So this really was like in the last 6 months, from like idea to a physical product people can have. It was my fastest book-like project I've ever done. And I've never done anything like it, but it was so much fun. So I hope you'll enjoy it. If you get a copy, please let me know. Tag me in the pictures. I'd love to see pages that you color, or that your kids color, or that your relatives, friends, whoever color. So I hope you enjoyed this. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And let me know if you're interested in other kinds of AuthorTube content connected to my writing business. I would be happy to answer questions or do that kind of content if there's interest in it. And I will see you in another video tomorrow. Bye!